What if the smartest move isn't to give an answer, but to ask a better question? In classical Athens, Socrates unsettled people not by preaching certainties, but by inviting conversation. He disliked formal lectures. Instead, he stopped friends and strangers in the street and gently tugged at their ideas. He would claim he knew nothing, then follow each reply with another question, peeling back assumptions until the reasoning underneath was exposed. His students, Plato and Xenophon, later staged this style in dramatic dialogues, showing how inquiry can reshape thought. In one such scene, a confident young man, Euthydemus, announces he understands justice. Socrates tests that confidence. Is lying always unjust? Is theft? Yes, the student says, until Socrates asks about a general deceiving an enemy or plundering a hostile camp. The student amends his rule: just for enemies, unjust for friends. Socrates pushes again. What about a commander hiding the grim truth to lift his soldiers' morale? Each tidy definition phrase, certainty softens into curiosity. Socrates likened this work to midwifery. Questions, he said, help others bring their own ideas into the light, so they can be examined, strengthened, or let go. The process doesn't promise final answers. It does something rarer. It clarifies the question and reveals circular or contradictory thinking. Follow the thread honestly, and you often arrive somewhere you didn't expect. Because it targets reasoning rather than specific content, this approach travels well. Renaissance physicians used questioning to train students at the bedside. Propose a diagnosis, defend it, face counterexamples, refine. The habit spread into astronomy, botany, and mathematics. After the Reformation, theologians turned it on matters of faith. By the 19th century, American law schools had embraced it. Professors tested legal principles with surprise hypotheticals, a practice mirrored today when justices probe unintended consequences of new rulings. The method's power, however, depends on the guide. A good Socratic teacher is grounded in the subject, listens closely, and resists the urge to dominate. The tone is modest and curious, never a performance meant to humiliate. Socrates himself, for all his brilliance, was not always diplomatic. He was openly critical of aspects of Athenian politics. And those views, filtered through rumor and fear, helped land him in court. The city condemned him to death. Artists often portray his final hours as calm, the same quiet courage, the same relentless curiosity, even as he neared the ultimate unknown. That is the promise of the Socratic method. Ask with honesty, follow the logic, let the question do its work, and watch your thinking grow sharper, kind. Picture this. You're in a friend's kitchen, one cupcake left. In your head, a panel of philosophers starts debating. Mill says, do what creates the most overall happiness. Aristotle nudges you toward generosity and fairness. Hobbes whispers, every choice serves our own advantage, so why not take it? Beneath the pastry drama is an old puzzle. Are we built to serve ourselves? The hardline view, psychological egoism, claims every action is self-interested. Few thinkers buy that. People risk comfort, even life, for strangers. Toddlers help without rewards. Still, many admit we tilt toward the self. Kant warns, even noble deeds may hide a quiet hunger for approval or benefit. Big donations can be about status as much as service. But not all self-regard is rotten. Rousseau draws a line. Basic self-care that protects life is healthy. Status hunger that measures worth by admiration and rank is not. Aristotle adds, we are social creatures. We thrive when our good is woven with others' good. Wise self-love can't ignore the community. So how do we rein in narrow self-concern? Some, like Kant, point to duty, principles that bind us when convenience pulls the other way. Others, Rousseau, Adam Smith, highlight sympathy, the emotion that stretches our attention outward. Iris Murdoch goes further. For her, the problem isn't dessert etiquette, it's living as the star of your own movie. She tells of a mother who secretly looks down on her daughter-in-law. Outwardly polite, she edits the young woman into a shallow caricature. Over time, through honest effort, the mother revises her view. She notices energy where she saw immaturity, directness where she assumed vulgarity. This is not rose-tinted denial. It's moral vision improving, letting another person appear as they truly are, not as our insecurity paints them. Murdoch calls the training for this shift attention. Practice it by looking away from yourself. Sit with art without making it about you. Learn languages that force you to listen. Walk in nature long enough to stop narrating and start noticing. Attention is a discipline, attending to what's real outside the echo of your own wants. So, are you selfish, and is that bad? Needing food, rest, boundaries? That's sane self-care. Chasing praise, winning every scene, using people as mirrors? That's the trap. Before you grab the last cupcake or the last word, ask, am I protecting something essential or performing for status? Have I really seen the people here, or only my reflection in their eyes? Cultivate duty, cultivate sympathy, and above all, cultivate attention. As your focus widens, your choices change. And the less you insist on being the main character, the more clearly everyone, including you, comes into view. What if you've been chasing happiness backward? Most of us treat joy as the prize, and gratitude as a thank you we write after it arrives. But look closer. People with every advantage can feel hollow. Others with real hardship still radiate ease. The pattern suggests something simple. Gratitude often creates happiness, not the other way around. So what is gratitude exactly? It's clear seeing that something of real value has arrived as a gift, undeserved, unguaranteed. When that lands, warmth spreads, mood lifts. We don't have to wait for rare miracles. The most precious gift is here, this moment. Another minute isn't promised. The present is where possibility lives. Gratitude isn't naivety. We don't owe thanks for cruelty, injustice, betrayal, or loss. The point is different. Even inside difficulty, there's usually a small opening, some humane response we can make now. Practiced this way, gratitude isn't approval. It's attention to the next wise action. A practical way to learn it. Pause. Life blurs by. Without brief halts, we miss the doorway back to presence. Plant tiny cues, kettle whistles, calendar chimes, the touch of a doorknob. Invitations to stop and breathe. Notice. Open your senses. Light on a wall, fabric under your fingers, the rhythm of your breath, the tone of a friend's voice. Then open your heart to opportunity. Is there a chance to help, to listen, to learn, to refuse harm? When we actually look, the ordinary is lavish. Act. Move on what you've seen. Send the message. Wash the cup. Step outside. Offer the seat. Choose the kinder sentence. Gratitude grows sturdy when it becomes motion. Sustained over time, this shifts the inner climate. Gratitude softens fear, and with less fear, there's less grasping and aggression. It unravels the scarcity story. Enough begins to feel real, and sharing gets easier. It welcomes difference. When life is received as gift, other people stop being competitors and start being teachers. We won't repair the world by stacking new pyramids of power. We will do it by weaving small, durable webs of care. Circles of neighbors and friends who notice one another and act. Start where you are. One breath, one pause, one small kindness. Let gratitude become a habit of attention, and notice how often happiness follows. Raise your hand and really look at it. How sure are you that this is yours? In a classic lab setup, a fake hand sits in front of you. Your real hand is hidden. A brush strokes both in perfect sync. After a minute, the counterfeit limb feels like part of you. A knife hovers over it. You flinch. A party trick, yes, but it hints at something deeper. The self seems to sit at the crossroads of flesh and awareness. So which comes first? Are you a body that happens to generate thoughts? A body that hosts a mind? Or are you a conscious subject using a body? A mind that wears a body? 17th century philosopher René Descartes tried a radical test. Imagine every sensation is a dream. Every sight and sound is false. Even then, the act of doubting remains. Thinking persists. From this, he concluded, the thinking I is distinct from the material body, a non-physical knower. But if mind is immaterial, how does it push matter? How does a weightless, shapeless thinker flex a muscle? Why does it move this body and not the glass across the table? Some thinkers answered creatively. Nicolas Malebranche said, our willing is only the occasion. God performs the movement. George Berkeley denied matter altogether. Reality is ideas sustained by perception. Modern science blurs the divide. Neuroscience paints consciousness as deeply embodied. The brain weaves signals from eyes, skin, ears, gut, and balance. It listens to the quiet sense of where your limbs are in space. From infancy, contact with the world sculpts neural maps. Those maps stabilize the feeling of me. Illusions with fake limbs and virtual reality bend those maps with ease. This suggests the self is not sealed off from the body, but braided with it. That challenges Descartes' experiment. In a silent room, with eyes shut, you don't float free. You feel posture, heartbeat, gravity's pull. The body hums through awareness. This matters as technology redraws our edges. Neural prosthetics and wearable robots can become new organs we learn to inhabit. If the self extends along useful tools, perhaps me can stretch. What about mind uploading, consciousness in a computer? If the self depends on bodily signals, any digital you may still need a simulated body rich enough to feed experience. Many thinkers outside the Cartesian line agree. Buddhist philosophers, Aristotle, Heidegger, they say mind and world meet through embodiment. We are not minds trapped in meat. We are living beings who understand by doing. So what are we? A mind steering a body? A body complex enough to awaken into mind? or a third thing we haven't named yet. For now, try a small experiment. Notice your breath, your weight on the chair, the tingle in your fingers. Wherever the self resides, it seems to begin here, where sensing and thinking intertwine.